Didn't play.
We've smash cut out everything.
We're in. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Untitled.mob. I'm joined by the fantastic Jamie Pockeries.
Hello, I have just... That's not good. My earphones just went into noise cancelling mode, so I couldn't hear you speak to me.
That's brilliant. And we've joined once again by Cameron.
Hello, how are you doing, Reese?
Doing well, thank you very much for coming on, Cameron.
Of
So yeah, we've got an absolute treat of an episode this week. Some pop news. Sadly, no video clips this week due to budget cuts.
Well, some of us have degrees...
The budget that was already zero has
Yeah.
been cut further.
Some of us have degrees that take up 5 hours of the day in lectures, and yeah.
It's great. So yeah, coming up though, we also have the Karen poll potentially. Actually, I don't think that's
I
happening.
don't think that happened.
That's not happening next week, but we've also got a fantastic interview with an alumni of ours. Something really to look forward to. So yeah,
Special guest, you could say.
a special guest, you could
Quite a
even say.
famous guest in our
In the circles.
in the circle of tech.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, to start us off then, it's Codec of the Week. What? Woo! Exactly. And Codec of the Week this week is ProRes.
Oh. Mixed feelings.
You had to do it at some point, but
It had to be done, but my goodness, ProRes has caused some mixed feelings within our computing team.
Quite the discourse, really. But
It is.
I think it's quite cool. But
do you want to explain the benefits and drawbacks of ProRes?
In fact, if he tells us about the benefits, I'll talk about the drawbacks.
And you know all the drawbacks?
I do.
Okay.
Because of you, personally.
Me? Right, that's
I
just a
digress.
bonus then. Wow, I even wrote a blog post on this, so you're tangoing with the wrong cool kid, I tell you. As much as this blog post can actually give me a clear list of advantages, we've even got cool image of ProRes at the background. Fantastic. But no, so you get cool little things such as the playback speed, fantastic to decode, especially when it is local to disk, because it's quite easy to decode.
If you've got it in a VLC file and you scroll along,
A MOV file.
yeah, but ProRes, it just works. You don't have to sit there
Does just
ticking over
work.
it. It is. I must concede that is a good thing.
It's quite good at that. It's also got little generational loss when re-encoding, which is also quite good, especially if you go through multiple exports, passing multiple editors. But obviously, for our scale, it doesn't happen as much. It tends to be just one editor.
And how about the disadvantages then?
Well, let me discuss. So we have a couple ways that we like to save our footage from YSTV. And we have the Google Drive, everyone knows about Google Drive. We also have network attached storage in our servers. And one thing about network attached storage in your server is you've got to have the hard drives in the server for it to work. And then this man comes along with all of his ProRes and fills up about 100 gigabytes for 20 minutes of footage.
Yeah, well, I suppose you should probably delete the source footage after you export it.
I think
It's just almost unusably large files.
It is unusable. I think it's broken about 3 editors' laptops.
Thank you, Marks.
God.
Enough ProRes discussion for one day.
I think the crew are fed up with
I feel so bad. Normally, it's the last of the crew who are left for this show. We're doing things a little bit differently this week, and so we've got our kind of professional on it York Yesterday crew who have been
We've got a
made to
floor
stay on.
manager.
We do.
Unusual.
That's a new one.
And the floor manager is telling me to get on with it.
Thank you, floor
So,
manager.
next on the agenda, though, is the news of the week. And Jamie, you found quite a piece to tell us about.
I did. So ChatGPT, which we have mentioned previously on the show in terms of their Microsoft partnership, has recently announced that they will be trialling a subscription service for about £16 per month. Subscribers will get access to the platform even at peak times. So if anyone has used the service and you access it during peak times, you may realise that you're added to a waiting list and you have to sit there waiting for bandwidth to be available. But now, if you subscribe to this, you're first one in the door, as it were. They're trialling it just to see how users take to it, because at the end of the day, they operate mainly off of a free-to-use system currently. But that's kind of what they're looking into it, and we might find out what happens because of it.
It's really quite exciting stuff. In other news as well, Microsoft Teams have released a plugin for the Stream Deck, which is really quite a little treat. It was included this Wednesday in a blog post. about Teams Premium, and you get fantastic new meeting controls, which you can see in that lovely image next to the rest of the team. What sort of goodies you now get, such as mic, camera control, and some emotes.
I've noticed there's a what looks to be virtual background control. Can you control that with a stream?
Yeah, so it's like you can blur your background with just a press of a button.
That's quite handy. It's
really
a shame it's a premium feature, but I guess if you've got a Stream Deck, you're already willing to spend the money.
Yeah.
Oh. Hello. Oh. Oh dear.
What was that, Jerry?
Oh, I am going to be ridiculed after this.
That's embarrassing.
I'll explain later.
No, I think you should explain.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of lav mics.
It's even got a googly eye on it.
Yeah, does it? So it does. Yeah, oh dear. Yeah, you can probably tell by what's been thrusted into my hand as to why that is a problem. But it would appear my lav mic has given up.
It's not ideal at all. And then in final bit of news we have for this week, Roland has released a new mixer, announced last Thursday. It is quite the bit of kit, I'll be honest. Littered with features, so it's got fantastic PTZ integration, audio mixing, you've got so much controls available to you.
Oh, is this an all-in-one, audio and visual?
Yeah.
Oh,
so you got the faders.
That's very nice.
Last Thursday was announced, so we could have had it on the show last week, but clearly didn't see it. But yeah, so the output, so free HDMI output, free SDI output, Type C. And
what, is that Type C output?
Yeah, so you can use it as a webcam.
Oh, that's insane.
So why you choose that as a webcam is a bit beyond.
I mean, I can certainly see some previous tech members of YTV using that as a webcam.
Yeah, to be fair. And yeah, so if anyone is wanting to pick that up at home, you can pick it up for a mere $5,800.
Oh, so not that bad.
It's quite a steal in some ways. Well, I think it's a really good compromise because you get a sound desk and an audio mic right now. An audio mixer and the video
and an audio
mixer.
mixer.
I mean, yeah, what you've got to remember is this is replacing 2 desks, which individually are going to cost about £1,000.
Yeah.
Or well,
That's
a grand low end.
£3,000 markup.
Yeah, I was going to say grand low end, and this is, I assume, good equipment. So, you know, it's costs. You got to judge it over what you actually included with there.
Yeah, it's really quite good. I hope that I'll get to use it one day. I don't think YTV will invest in something like this all too soon because we've got too many mixers as it is.
I feel, you know, it's not that magic, so it's probably more likely to be bought than another ATEM, but I feel a desk of that magnitude, perhaps not.
Indeed. But yeah, that is coming late March for reference. And yeah, that is the news for this week. So quite a nice varied amount. But now we've got a special feature of the show. Which is really quite magical. So we've got a fantastic... Jamie, you introduce.
I'll introduce. So what we've got through the magic of the internet and the magic of a mixture of the open source Vido.Ninja service and NDI, vMix, and
It's a video call.
a numerous amount of different things.
Yeah.
We've achieved a video call. You know that thing you know your nan's just about gathered how to do? Yeah, we've managed to do it too, but more complicated. And because of that, we've got an old but a good little alumni or alumnus. I'm not quite sure of the singular term. It is Matthew Stratford. I don't actually. I should have looked you up. Have we got you on the stream? Expect. I can see you. I can see you. Oh, there you are.
In the corner.
Can you hear me?
And that's a
Yes.
feedback loop.
Now, yes, I'm just going to quickly open.
Hang on. No, well,
We've not exactly mastered
Yeah.
remote video
2
calling
second
yet.
delay.
It's still something that...
hello everyone.
So it's possible the viewers may be able to hear him twice.
which could be problematic. But Matthew, do introduce yourself for a little bit whilst we try and fix this issue. Okay, yeah, lots of the audio feeds a bit.
Oh,
bad.
I've just realised the issue. I was on call with Stratford. I've just switched networks to change the X32,
Yeah.
which means I've dropped out of the call.
Good.
Stratford, are you there? I've lost him. Are you there?
Lost him.
Tell you what's happened. I muted somebody with the mute button. It's now behind the menu that I want to click, that I don't want to click. How do I...
Okay, so what seems to be happening here is not only are we having technical issues at our end, Stratford is also having technical issues at his end.
How fitting.
So can you
there
hear
we
me?
go. Yes.
Okay, good. I am going to quickly fix our little feedback loop we've got going. But would you like to introduce yourself?
Of computing in some many years ago. And I used to do lots of stuff and things and shenanigans. And now you guys get to do all the fun stuff.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we've got in our studio. I mean, your name is plastered everywhere when I've been, repatching stuff. You'll open a panel and it'll say Matstrat and a year that's too far behind for me to remember.
Yeah, that was one heck of a project it started in my last year and ended in my last year plus 2, I think.
I can't remember what year it was, but it was quite a few back now.
It's not.
But first, I want to talk about the news.
Oh!
You didn't invite me on the news, but I have responses
He's
to the
got
news.
opinions on his. Do tell us.
Do tell.
So, Roland is
You realise
very
I can't hear
interesting
him.
in having a video mixing desk. In
Carry on.
the last time I saw a Roland mixing desk, it kind of just crashed.
It crashed.
So hopefully they have a better ability to make firmware these days. Because you can have as fancy hardware as you like in classic Blackmagic fashion, but if your firmware don't work, then the product is useless.
I was about to mention Blackmagic, especially since our more recent ATEM troubles that we've talked about previously on Untitled.Marvel.
I've acquired myself a little Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera,
Ooh.
and despite the fact that they hardly change the API at all of the apps for it don't work. So there we go.
That's Blackmagic
And I
for
also
you.
have to deal with the ProRes problem of if I want to record 4K, I now have a 2 terabyte SSD stuck to it because if I want to record a show, that's how much storage I need.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. You're getting quality for your money, is what that is.
It's ProRes. It's 2 big files. Also, I've noticed you're a country mile away from that microphone. So I feel sorry for the sound hop.
I do feel sorry for them as well.
You're not going to fix it? Problem solved. There we are.
Wow.
So anyway, Matstrat, one of the things we like to do on this show is talk about some of our favourite bodges. Do you have any from either a big one you remember from YSTV or anything you can think of really?
2017, we were doing Roses from in York. It was either 2017 or 18.
Right.
And we had very much a shortage of hardware regarding like streaming machines, or at least if we had enough streaming machines, we then didn't have enough machines to do graphics. So we had a big problem on our hands on how to make all of the streams that everyone had decided to do, and how to do them. So it ended up the control room for the show was essentially 2 desktop machines sitting on the control room in YSTV, running about probably about 9 instances of OBS, and just because AMD are nice to you and allow you to actually use all the hardware encoders that were in your product you bought, you could actually hardware encode about 6 video streams on a Vega 56. So that was to add all the sports graphics to all the streams, and then to mix the 24-hour in quotes stream, and to do a stream to put on big screen in Greg's place.
Oh, yeah.
We had like Sky Sports scores with all as the scores came in, and That was there were 2 desktop machines screaming for the entire weekend, keeping that running. And the other cool thing that at that time OBS was finally learning about how to do multi-views. So I think it was the first year that OBS had added multi-view support. So you could an OBS per thing you wanted to monitor, and I had an entire streaming multi-view of all the different quality versions, all the scenes on a multi-view, and that worked. And the CPU could just about handle that up until the streaming server started being a bit sluggish with the number of people watching.
Yeah.
In which case, it started buffering, and then all the buffering CPU loads went all over the place, and the whole thing fell apart. But it was a sight to behold that just having an entire screen full of the same version of the same thing times 5 streams. Times
I can imagine.
Yeah, 5 quality versions.
I mean, in terms of the OBS several instances bodge, we're actually running. Currently, I meant to mention this in our intro, but we're not currently live. We're currently pretend live. You'll be watching this live, but as you're watching this. Sorry?
But not at the same time.
Not at the same time. As you're watching it, Stratford is live. But as you're watching this, I'm currently sitting in front of one of the computers in the studio, just making sure what will become a video, is going up correctly. And we're doing that through one OBS instance that is currently broadcasting a bunch of VTs we pre-prepared, and we have another instance that's currently recording our ATEM output. So the multiple instances has still yet to die in YSTV.
The other one, the other random bodge.
It is running vMix. It's also running Companion, Casper, and multitudes of other software, all simultaneously. And I don't think it's screaming. It's quite a decent machine.
It's not bad. No.
I had a 4th Gen i7.
Yes, we've just, YSTV's got some decent equipment now in terms of specs. We have money, exactly. It's decent. We're not having to scrimp off, random bits of hardware that random departments are throwing to us, although we are still doing that for our service.
Matthew, I wanted to ask as well, what's been your favourite production whilst you were at YSTV?
I mean, I've always had a soft spot for. There was a show during the 50th, back when I was a student, so for me it counts. We did a show at 2 o'clock in the morning called Fast Food.
Yes.
This was essentially a show where everyone was hungry, and for some reason, we'd been doing lots of random shows that evening. We had a show called Serial Time, which sadly Tom stole the footage of, and it never went anywhere.
What a villain. But
it was interesting content. And then we had Twister in a Lift. That was probably at about 11 p.m. We then had I think a bit of a break, and then we were prepared for about an hour at 1 o'clock, and then at 2 a.m. we started Fast Food, which was one of the alumni tried to do this show in 2011, and so they made a whole entire intro for it in 4x3. Yeah. I think maybe the intro was even earlier than 2011. Who knows? But the whole premise of the show was you tackle 2 different fast food companies against each other.
Yeah.
And the same kind of pizza order with the same toppings or whatever. And you got to rate. They have to race to the studio.
Oh, gosh.
And we went full out in that we had a live reporter. Tom Lee was standing outside the UC building.
Oh, very nice.
Waiting for the cast to arrive. So we cut to that. We had some interviews. We had a guided tour of where the car would go. And then just, 40 minutes of time wasting.
Who won in the end?
Waiting for these pizzas to arrive. I think it was Effie's. It was Effie's against Viking.
I think that's all we've got time for. I mean,
I mean, Cameron here does our scheduling, and you've scheduled how much time? I think we've got about 6 minutes left before we need to get
do need
this
to start
live.
wrapping up, I'm afraid.
So unfortunately, Stratford, it's been brilliant, but we are going to have to break from you. We'll probably leave you on the TV in the back so
I'm
you
sure
can
that was
join
really
in.
interesting, but unfortunately I couldn't hear any
Oh,
of
no.
it.
Cameron hasn't been able to hear you either. But I've enjoyed it, and I'm sure Reese has. It's
been
nice having you on. We'll leave you on in the background.
Fantastic.
Right, Reese, final thoughts for the show?
Yeah, so it's been great. I think next week, though, we should have a lot more content. We've done a lot of recording this week, so something great to look forward to. And yeah, that's all for this episode of Untitled.mov. I've been Reese.
I've been Jamie.
I've been Cameron.
And there we go. Toodle-doo all.